At the beginning of the story, we see a man named Henry who is extremely straight-laced, working his night shift at a toll booth. From the look on his face, it seemed as if his life was completely colorless. When he got home in the morning, his wife said the same thing, that you don't love me anymore, do you? I remember when you used to, everything was so different. They were still talking when suddenly someone knocked loudly on the door from outside. When Henry opened the door, his friend Eddie was standing there. With him was a man named Joe, who looked to be in very bad shape and kept vomiting repeatedly. Debbie is a nurse, so she brought Joe inside to help him. Just then, Eddie said to Henry, "Bro, today is his basketball team's match. You should play in his place because in this condition he won't be able to play." Henry tried to refuse, but Eddie still made him put on the jersey and took him along. Henry asked, "Where will the game be played?" Eddie said, "It's not too far from here, it'll just take 15 minutes. Then Eddie told him to stop the car and left, saying, "We'll be back in just a little while. We're just going to get some food and drinks. You just sit here and keep the car running, okay?" As they were leaving, Eddie and his two other companions put on masks. Henry didn't even know the other two people. The three of them pulled out their guns and went into the bank. Poor Henry had no idea until now that Eddie and his companions had come here to rob a bank and that he was their driver. On top of that, the car was stolen too. They had started it by hot wiring it. After a while, those people came running out of the bank and started scattering in different directions. Just then, a guard present there spotted Henry. He was wearing a t-shirt just like the robbers. Because of this, he was arrested. The police tried hard to get Henry to reveal the names of his accomplices, but apart from Eddie, Henry didn't know anyone else anyway. He was so straightforward that he didn't even mention Eddie's name. He thought, whatever he is, he's still my friend. Because of this, Henry was sentenced to 3 years in prison for attempting to rob the bank. As soon as he entered jail, he met Max. Max started talking to Henry very nicely. The next day, while having breakfast, Max told Henry that every prisoner here once had some dreams, but then something unfortunate happened in their lives and they ended up here. "What's your dream?" Henry replied that he didn't have any dreams. Hearing this, Max said that not having any dreams is the biggest crime of all, so tell me, what is your dream? When Henry gave the same answer again, Max said, "What's the point of a life that has no dreams?" In this way, 6 months passed. Debbie came to visit Henry in jail and said, "I have something important to tell you." Debbie told him that she had fallen in love with someone else. But Henry, showing a big heart, said that it's okay, I just want you to be happy. If you can't be with me, then it's fine if you're with someone else. Meanwhile, Max had started to feel like the prison was his home, all the inmates. "You're not following me, are you?" Henry refused and followed her all the way to the coffee shop. While having coffee there, Henry started praising Julia's acting. At that moment, Julia thanked Henry for not filing a complaint about the accident. Meanwhile, on the other side, Max also applied for parole from jail. After being asked a few questions, he was also released. Henry had already explained to Max how to behave in front of the officers. When Henry came to pick him up outside the jail, Max started asking him where his car was. Henry said that he didn't have a car. In fact, Henry had come to pick up Max on foot. At this, Max got irritated and said, "What kind of lunatic have I gotten involved with to get out of here? Hello, take me back, I don't want to go outside." But when Henry told Max his plan, Max, surprised, said, "This is your plan? 80 years ago, the bank was robbed in exactly the same way, and do you even have guns and all that?" But Henry refused to do that as well, saying that he didn't want to hurt anyone. To this, Max replied, "Yeah, sure, Mother Teresa, that's great. But after the last robbery, it's possible the bank people changed the location of the vault, and now it might not even be above that tunnel. To find this out, they would have to go to the bank." At the bank, they met with the assistant manager. As they entered, the bank guard watched them very closely. While talking to the bank's assistant manager, Max cleverly confirmed that since the bank was built, the vault has never been moved from its original place. He did all this so cleverly that the manager didn't suspect a thing, but the guard was still keeping an eye on them. After this, both of them went to the theater to investigate the tunnel. There, Julia was surprised to see Henry again, and this time Max was with him too. But just then, Max spoke up saying that when he was young, he had performed many plays here. "I've brought Henry here just to show him this. You don't mind if I take a look at the theater from inside, do you?" As they were going inside, Julie asked Max which plays he had performed here, and Max immediately mentioned Shakespeare. Then Max said that he has many memories here, so he wants to see every corner of the theater, and he was granted permission to do so. As soon as Max left, Julie asked Henry, "Is he your father?" To which Henry replied, No, he's just a good friend." On the other side, a man from the theater took Max to the door of the tunnel while showing him around, and Max began to inspect it. Meanwhile, when Julia asked Henry what he does, Henry straightforwardly replied, "I was recently released from jail, so I'm not doing anything at the moment." Julia was startled. "Why were you in jail? Did you commit a murder or something like that?" To which Henry replied, "It's a long story. I'll tell you some other time." After that, they made plans to meet for dinner that evening. When he got home, Max told Henry that the tunnel goes through the wall of a green room, so we don't have to. "Last time, a parole officer asked you, Max, if we got you out, what would you do for us? So what did you answer, Max?" To which Max replied, "I'll break into your house and kill your dog, set your house on fire, and cut out the tongue of every living thing that lives there." Then later, Henry was asked, "When is your review?" To which Henry replied, "Next month." At that moment, an inmate said, "Everyone is sure that Henry is innocent." Henry also said, "I haven't committed any crime." To this, Max told him that since you've spent time in jail, no matter what you say, everyone outside will always think that you must have committed some crime. Anyway, soon Henry was released from prison and the first person he went to meet was Debbie. But when Joe opened the door, he was shocked to see this, and on top of that, Debbie was pregnant with his child. Seeing all this, Henry started thinking to himself about how his life had completely changed. Debbie showed Henry all his belongings and asked him what he planned to do next. Henry didn't answer, and just then Joe came in. He offered Henry a business proposal and thanked him for not mentioning his name in court. But Henry said, "I don't even know your name," and quietly walked away from there. Later, Henry went and stood in front of the same bank where all these events had started. But just then, a car hit him and he fell to the ground. The car was being driven by a woman named Julie. Julie scolded Henry harshly and then asked, "Are you okay?" Just then, the bank's guard also arrived and started telling them to call an ambulance. But Henry refused this. After this, the guard helped him a little and took him to the nearby cafe, where Julie also followed them. Henry said to Julie, "I think I've seen you somewhere before." To this, Julie replied, "Don't look at me, watch where you're going on the road." And with that, she left from there. When Henry went to the bathroom, he noticed a news clipping stuck on the wall. That 80-year-old newspaper clipping contained an article related to a robbery that had taken place at a bank. The robbery was carried out through an underground tunnel that was connected to a theater located behind the bank. This tunnel runs directly beneath the bank's vault. After this, Henry went straight to the prison to meet Max and told him that he had found his dream. He said, "Robbing that bank is my dream, and it's because of this dream that I ended up here. If I have to serve time anyway, I might as well actually commit the robbery." Max didn't understand anything, so Henry asked, "Will you help me rob the bank?" Max asked him, "Do you even have a plan? Or are you just talking in the air?" To this, Henry replied, "Don't worry, I have a top-class plan." After all this, Henry went to the theater, where Julie was also rehearsing for her play. While Julie was acting in the play, her director started scolding her a lot and said, "You won't be able to do all this." After that, Julie angrily went to get some coffee. As she was leaving, he was about to go on a date and asked Max, "How do I look?" Max laughed and said, "You look just like you always do. Now go enjoy your date. We'll make plans later." During their date, Julie told Henry, "I want to become a big actress. I want everyone to know my name." During their date, Henry told Julie the whole truth about how he ended up in jail and that now he really wanted to rob a bank. Julie was quite shocked to hear his plan, but she had started to enjoy Henry's company. Then they both came home, and the closeness between them grew even more. The next morning, Henry and Julie went to Max's house. When Max didn't seem happy to see Julie, Henry told him not to worry, that she would be working with them. But then Max pulled Henry aside and got angry at him for telling her the whole plan. A little while later, while eating, Julie asked Max what he was doing in jail, to which Max replied that he had committed several murders. Julie then asked him, "You committed so many murders, weren't you afraid of getting caught?" To this, Max said that he actually likes going to jail. He said, "It's my favorite place." On their way to the theater, Julie and Henry got the idea that they should hold auditions at this theater. That way, they could spend as much time there as possible. But after a while, Max had the idea that they should remove the actor whose green room it was and give that role to Henry. "Then we can keep digging comfortably. No one will find out anything." To this, Henry said that he doesn't know how to act, but Max hyped him up completely. He said, "Look at yourself, you're a natural actor. No one can do it better than you. And anyway, this is the lead role." After a while, the actor himself left the play, saying that he had gotten a role in a big movie. But in reality, Max had fooled him. When Julie found out about this, she got very angry. Are you guys determined to ruin my career or what? Henry gave the audition and he was selected too. Now it would be even easier for them to complete their work. But within a day or two, they realized that digging the tunnel was not something two people could handle, so they decided to include Joe in the task. After a lot of convincing, Joe finally agreed to help with the work. But as soon as he saw the tunnel, Joe said, "What's the need to do all this anyway? You should just take a gun and rob the place directly." To this, Max replied, "We don't want to do a stupid robbery like you." Gradually, the work started progressing. Along with this work, Henry was also very dedicated to his role. Now, Henry didn't just want money, he wanted to do something new in life. One night, when they were heading home after finishing their work, the bank guard who had arrested Henry stopped them. The policeman said, "You're the one who was with the bank robbers, right? And even now, I've seen you going to the theater from behind the bank several times. This time, I won't let anything go wrong." Henry took the policeman with him. Henry asked him, "What do you want?" So Frank explained that once a month, a truck goes to our partner banks. It collects all the currency and brings it to one place. At that time, there is more than 1 billion rupees kept in the vault of this bank. Only a fool would try to rob the bank at any other time. I can be your inside man and help you with the alarm system. The next day, during Julie's crying scene at the theater, the director said to her, "You've never been in love, have you? Your heart has never been broken, has it? That's your problem. Without this feeling, you'll never become a great actress." Then there was a 5-minute break. Julie went to the bathroom and started crying. Henry asked, "Are you okay?" At that moment, Julie broke down and started sobbing. She said, "Yes, I've never been in love. What am I supposed to do? But I still want to be an actress, don't I?" To this, Henry said, "You love me, you just don't realize it yet, and I'm sure you'll become a great actress." Then the two of them moved closer and kissed each other. That night, Max and Henry were making plans for a robbery. Just then, there was a knock at the door. As soon as Henry opened the door, he saw Joe and Eddie standing there. Looking at Joe, it seemed as if he had been roughed up. Just then, Eddie said to Henry, "Joe has told me everything, and now I'm part of your plan too." But Max didn't like Eddie at all. He asked Henry, "Who is this weirdo?" Eddie started saying that he knows everything. "That's why you have no other option now." Max asked again, "Will someone tell me who this fool is?" But Eddie, getting irritated, said, "I'm in on this plan and you're out, old man." Max directly told him to leave, but Eddie teased Max again by calling him an old man. This time, Max got angry and started moving towards Eddie to hit him, but Henry somehow managed to intervene and stop them. The next day, when Max and Henry went to the theater, they found out that their show would be happening in just a few days, and this made both of them worried. Henry said, "I don't think we can pull off the theft now." Actually, he had also started falling in love with Julie. If they went through with the theft, they would have to run away from here. But now he didn't want to be away from Julie. Just then, Max grabbed Henry and said, "You called me out of jail to help you, and now you're backing out of this job. I've spent my whole life just talking big. I was locked up in jail for a long time. Now that I'm out, I have to pull off some big job before I go." At night, Henry and Julie met each other. Henry told Julie that they would have to rob the bank on the very first day of the show and then he would escape to California. "You want to work in Hollywood anyway. You'll meet me there, won't you?" But as soon as she heard this, Julie burst out in anger. She said, "If you were going to leave anyway, then why did you make me believe in love? You only used me to get into the theater. I will never meet you anywhere. It's my fault that I fell in love with a thief." Let's take a moment to carefully consider and observe what is happening here, as we need to thoroughly examine the situation before proceeding. Let it go. Now we only have 10 minutes left. Just then, the money truck also arrived at the bank. As the policeman had said, Henry kept acting well in the play, and as soon as he saw an opportunity, he went to help his companions. Everything was happening according to their plan. First, they broke through the brick wall using a tool, and then, with the help of a large welding machine, they cut through the iron of the vault, making a big hole there. As soon as he got the signal from the policeman, Max had already cut the wires, which is why the alarm didn't go off. But just then, Eddie pointed a gun at Max and told him to quietly leave from there. Eddie told Joe to quickly load all the money into the car. Joe didn't like what Eddie was doing and said, "Don't do this, brother, it's not right." Just then, Henry also arrived there, and Eddie tried to scare him too. He shot Max with the gun, knocking him down, even though Joe kept telling him not to do it. At that moment, Max snatched the gun from Eddie's hand and started beating him. During all this, a shot was fired, grazing Henry's leg. Meanwhile, Henry's scene was about to come up in the theater, so he hurriedly, limping a little, went to perform his scene. He managed to get through it. After giving Eddie a good beating upstairs, Max tied up his hands, feet and mouth, and a little while later, Henry, Max and Joe took all the money and made a quick getaway from there. Suddenly, Henry started telling them to stop the car. Joe and Max couldn't understand why he was doing that. Still, they stopped the car. Henry told them to run away, saying, "I'll meet you later." When Joe asked Max where he had gone, Max replied, "Let him go to hell, you just drive the car." Henry ran back to the theater. Julia was acting on stage. Just then, Henry, limping a little, quickly climbed onto the stage. He told Julia that he couldn't stay away from her. He said, "I truly love you and I can't live without you." Meanwhile, something similar was happening in the play as well, so the audience thought, wow, these people are doing something different. What a scene! And everyone started waiting for Julia to say yes. At that moment, the director also dimmed all the lights a bit and told Julia to say yes. Now, Julia also became convinced that Henry truly loved her, and after a long silence, although Julia didn't say yes, her facial expressions revealed everything. So in the end, the hero got the heroine. He'll definitely take the money.